Let's look at the concept of memory. I'm going to give you a simple circuit which depicts memory. So the circuit is a buffer with feedback. Essentially, when the present value or the present state of the buffer is 0, this 0 is going to get propagated all the way here. And since a buffer is not inverting the logic, it's just going to pass whatever value is there. You still get a 0 and this circuit becomes stable. Essentially, when you tap the output here or you put a probe and see the value there, you get a 0. Same thing can happen if you have a logic 1 initially. When you have logic 1, this value of 1 is fed back and it comes here, and again you get the value 1. Again, when you tap the output, you get logic 1. So a buffer has two stable states. It can be stable state 0 or stable state 1. So essentially, what the buffer is doing is it is basically acting as memory. So this portion of the buffer or the output of the buffer is, it's like memory because you're able to store a 0 or you're able to store a 1. A buffer typically is implemented using two NOT gates. So this is the first NOT gate. The output of this NOT gate is fed into another NOT gate, and the output of this one is fed into the input of this. So this acts as a buffer. So initially, if the output of this NOT gate is a 0, this 0 is fed back here. It is flipped. This value propagates here, and it's flipped again. Essentially, you're storing logic 0. The same behavior can be observed when you initially have a logic 1 here. This one is going to go back here, gets flipped, propagates, and gets flipped again. In this case, you're storing a logic 1. However, this setup has a problem. The problem is that using this setup, you can only store a logic 1 or a logic 0. Once it is stored, you cannot really modify it. So the problem is you can store either logic 0 or logic 1. And you cannot really control what you can store, right? Because the initial value over here can be 0 or it can be a 1. And you have no way to assert control over this. So to get control, we use something known as an SR latch.